Are we witnessing the final tipping point for Britain? Across the United Kingdom, thousands of ordinary citizens are taking to the streets. Union flags and St. George's crosses flying high. From Birmingham to London, a massive wave of demonstration is sweeping the nation, and the message is loud and clear: they have had enough. But what exactly is driving this unprecedented surge of public frustration? Is it just a temporary spark, or is a permanent shift happening in British politics? Today, we are diving deep into the massive protests over illegal immigration, national identity, and the very direction the UK is heading. We are going to break down the claims, look at what figures like Rupert Lowe are saying, and most importantly, we are going to look at the hard legal facts and statistics that the mainstream media often leaves out. Stick around, because the reality of what is happening legally on the ground might surprise you. If you have been watching the news, or more likely, independent creators online, you have probably seen the footage. Entire communities are organizing. The questions people are asking are straightforward, yet they strike at the heart of national security and integration. Who is entering Britain? Where have they come from? Are proper background checks being carried out? And perhaps the most pressing question for the local taxpayer: how much change can communities reasonably be expected to absorb? Many feel that successive governments have completely lost control of the border. There is a growing sentiment that when someone enters a country, legally, their right to remain should be instantly revoked. Instead, citizens are watching properties in their towns being repurposed to accommodate asylum seekers, leading to widespread outrage and a feeling that locals are being pushed aside. But to truly understand this crisis, we have to look beyond the protests and examine what the law actually says. What is the government doing about this? The legal landscape in the UK has actually undergone a massive controversial overhaul recently. In July 2023, the UK government passed the Illegal Migration Act. The stated purpose of this law is to prevent and deter unlawful migration, specifically by unsafe routes like the dangerous small boat crossings over the English Channel. Under this act, a strict new rule was put into place. It imposes a legal duty on the Home Secretary to remove anyone who enters the UK illegally. Not only that, but the act prevents people who meet these conditions from ever being given legal permission to enter, stay, settle, or become a British citizen. It is effectively a permanent ban. However, passing a law and enforcing it are two entirely different things. Legal challenges, human rights appeals, and the logistical nightmare of finding safe third countries to deport people to have severely complicated these removals, leaving the system in a state of gridlock. And that gridlock brings us to one of the biggest flashpoints of these street protests: the hotel. You hear the claims that hotels in towns like Long Eaton are being emptied and filled with migrants. The facts back up the sheer scale of this issue. According to official UK government statistics, at the peak in September 2023, there were over 56,000 asylum seekers being housed in hotel accommodation across the country. By the end of that year, the government was supporting over 111,000 asylum seekers in total. While recent figures show a slight drop in these hotel numbers as the government tries to move people into other forms of housing, the visual and economic impact on local communities has already taken its toll. Taxpayers are footing the bill, and locals are feeling the strain on their public services, fueling the intense anger you see on the streets today. This brings us to another massive issue: free speech and the right to protest. Many of the people marching feel that if they dare to speak up about immigration or national identity, they are immediately labeled as extremists or far right by politicians and the media. But protesting itself has become legally riskier in the UK. Just a few months before the migration laws changed, the government passed the Public Order Act 2023. This law gave police vastly expanded powers to restrict protest and stop and search individuals without suspicion in certain areas. It introduced new criminal offenses for tactics that cause serious disruption. So when you see these massive crowds voicing their concerns, they are doing so in an environment where the legal boundaries of protesting have been tightened significantly. The authorities are watching closely, and many citizens fear that their legitimate concerns are being criminalized or suppressed to control the narrative. Britain is undeniably changing. The debate over mass immigration, free speech, and what it means to be British is no longer confined to Parliament. It is spilling out onto the streets. People have a right to disagree strongly on these issues, and ignoring them will not make them disappear. The clash between community frustration and the complex web of domestic laws is reaching a boiling point. Will the government be able to enforce the strict laws they have put on paper, or will the demonstration continue to grow? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you think the government has lost control, or are these protests being misrepresented? Drop your thoughts, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the issues that matter most.